Next piece of advice I would love to give myself when I first started lifting is that it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be better. What's poppin', people? Today we're actually going to have the same workout we had last time with the Jefferson squats in it, but I'm going to be approaching it a little bit differently. Today when I'm talking to you, I want to speak a little bit about something that's kind of important to me that hopefully will resonate with you guys and hopefully helps you guys out. It's going to be covering things that I wish that I had learned or I wish I had known when I first started out on my fitness journey. Things that I've kind of learned over the years that if I'd been doing them from the start would have made a big difference and got me a lot further than I feel like I am today. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and I hope you enjoy it. Now, first thing that I want to share with you guys that I wish someone had shared with me is figure out what exercises work best for you, not just what exercises people tell you to do. Everyone says you got to squat, bench, deadlift. And you know what? They're great exercises, and I definitely suggest beginners learn them because if you do feel them work the muscles you want to work and you do want to get stronger at those things, you definitely got to do them, and they definitely should be done. But not the best for everyone. For me, I don't barbell bench, barbell squat, or do traditional deadlifts anymore because they don't really work the best for my body. Figuring out what my body needs and how I can hit it versus just how people say you should exercise is one of the biggest things that's been a game changer in me getting my workouts good. With that said, why have I needed to do lunge for years? My inner thighs are weak. Why have I not done lunges for years? My inner thighs are weak. I have a knee injury, but after avoiding it for a few years to keep my knee healthy, it's definitely an exercise I probably should have put in a few years back. It's been quite a few years since the knee injury, over a decade. So definitely should have started doing these a couple of years ago when we started making up for that weak spot that I had gained by not training them due to that injury. Second thing I wish I had learned when I was starting my fitness journey is that strength and size are not the same thing. Being strong isn't necessarily going to get you big. Getting big isn't necessarily going to get you strong. They're two separate things that you have to train for. The bigger you get, the more strong you'll be relative to average, but not relative to other people your size. There'll always be smaller people when you're lifting more if you're focusing on size. And let that ego go. What is up? How you doing? I guess that leads me to number 3. Let that ego go when you're in the gym. Make friends. Everyone else who's at the gym, whether they're working on the same thing that you're working on, working on something totally different, no matter what they're doing, they're working on themselves, and you're working on yourself. So be kind, be respectful, give them the respect that they deserve. Hopefully they give you the same. And try to reach out, try to interact. Ask for a spot, even if you don't need one. If you see someone doing something you think is cool, ask them what they're doing and why. If you see someone all the time, tell them if they're looking good. See if you notice any progress and tell them about it. Encourage each other and build each other up because, to quote Ziz again, we're all going to make it. That's how we're going to make it. None of us are going to make it if only one of us makes it, because then you're just making it alone. It's better to do it together and support each other so that if you ever need someone, they're there. And if they ever need someone, you're there. So finding that bond in the gym as well as outside of the gym, something that's really going to set you apart in your fitness journey. One more set of lunges, and then you can put this shit away. Next piece of advice that I'd love to give myself when I first started lifting is that it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be better. I feel like I beat myself up a lot of this, and I know a lot of people, especially clients I've had, beat themselves up on, if they don't have a perfect day of tracking their macros, or if, their form's not perfect on one rep, or if they don't hit a new max when they were hoping to, they get frustrated and they let that minor slip up set them back and turn into a full-on setback, and they miss days and they miss weeks of progress. Let yourself mess up a little bit because, like everything, it's new. Even if you're on a bodybuilding prep, not everything's going to go perfect because that's life. And fitness and turning fitness into a lifestyle is learning how to make it work with what happens in life. Just get it. While I'm hitting these, I'll go ahead and tell you the next thing I wish I learned is that the negative is so much more important than the positive. This eccentric part where we're lowering the weight, not the active portion of the rep, the concentric, that eccentric being under load and time under tension, that's where you get the most gains and the most adaptation. So focusing more on how you return the rep than how you fire the rep. It's going to get you a lot better results in a lot better time. Whew. The next tip that I would give myself if I was speaking to myself when I first started my lifting journey is going to be figure out why you're working out. You know, when I first started working out, one of the main reasons is because I wanted to get stronger and heavier for wrestling. I started out short and skinny at the beginning of high school, shot up over a foot, was tall and skinny by the end of high school. I decided that needed to change. I wanted to put on some size. I wanted to stop losing to short, strong guys. But not only that, I definitely didn't feel great about myself, about how I looked. I didn't feel good about my personal image. I had been in only a few relationships at that point, and they all had gone pretty poorly. And so that didn't make me feel good about myself. I also, didn't get invited to parties, didn't have a whole lot of extracurricular activities besides my school-related ones, wrestling, band, and Latin club. And then my work, because I worked all through high school too. But I definitely didn't feel best about myself. So I think that's one of the main things that I got into after wrestling, was I went from wanting to lift for wrestling to wanting to lift so that other people thought I was cool, so that people thought I was buff, so that people thought I was, attractive, so that that would be who I was, instead of being the person that I was in high school and younger, who I no longer wanted to be. I leaned too heavily into being that person, and that wasn't really healthy either. It wasn't really until I found bodybuilding and found the place to put my competitiveness, a place to put my love for the science, a place to put my love for the art of the performance and of the actual sculpting of the physique, and a place to put all of my physical energy into the working out, kind of all combined, and a place to drive all those things together. I really felt like I found a purpose, not just for my exercising, but for what I wanted to do in life as well. So I would definitely say, when you're working in the gym, you're working on improving yourself. Don't just work on physically, and even the physically, don't do it because of what other people might think or how you think other people might think. Do it because of how you feel. If you don't feel like you want to get bigger than 200 pounds, never get bigger than 200 pounds. Don't do it for someone else. If you feel like it's not worth it to ever have shredded six-pack abs, then don't diet that hard. Be you and live for you and work out for you and do it. Excuse me, things that are going to make you happy and make you feel like your best self, because that's the ultimate point of fitness in general, is to be your best self. So if you never want to compete in bodybuilding because you don't want the judges telling you what they think about your physique, don't do it. Trust me, it's not fun hearing it, especially when you tie for last place and you're trying to get your pro card. But do what makes you happy for you. I'm not giving up. I'm taking what they said in consideration, and I'm continuing to build the physique that I want to have. And hopefully they like it better in 2025. Let's do it for you. The next thing that I'd love to tell myself when I first started working out is that there's more than one way to hit progressive overload. Yes, progressive overload in the most traditional sense, and in a lot of times the most practical sense, is just a slight increase in weight each week. Say if you do 100 pounds for 8 reps one week, the next week you come in, add a 2.5 on each side, you're doing 105 pounds for 8 reps, it means you wind up doing a total of 40 pounds total workload greater, versus if you tried to go up, and do 9 reps, that'd be a total of 100 pounds workload greater that you're trying to do, and your muscles might not be able to do that. So reps are a good way to increase it, but they're a little difficult as far as that jump versus small amounts of weight increase can also be one. But the third way that I found is more beneficial for me, again, more time that the muscle spends in a lengthened position under load, the better increase in growth it's going to have. So increasing time under tension is that third way that you can increase your progressive overload. So by increasing the amount of time that you take on a rep, specifically on the negative, that can help you increase the progressive overload while still using 100 pounds for 8 reps. You could do 100 pounds for 8 reps with a 3-second negative each, and I guarantee you that's also going to be way tougher, and it's going to help you get really good results, especially with that negative being the emphasized portion of the rep. So again, this next one, this time I decided to do my progressive overload with weight. It's actually like 135. Wasn't the best weight for me last time, wasn't enough weight, so I'm going up to 185. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's not too heavy. Still just going for probably 8 to 10 per side. Woo! Let's get my balance right. And I slowed down my negative on those last few. For those of you in the comments who are going to immediately come after me for saying do slow negatives and then immediately doing shitty negatives, I slowed them down. Let's try to do slow on this side too. Damn, this is tiring. Five, come on. Six. Come on. Last one. Last one, best one. Let's go. Ah! Woo! Buns, toasted. Get me a recorder. Play some hot cross buns for you. Oh, God. Whew. Okay. Calves and arms. And we're out of here. Whew. As I begin to train my single most criticized body part by the judges, the internet comments, and Frank Zane alike, I'm gonna tell you another thing I think is actually really important that I wish I could tell myself. You may not think it's that important, but I would tell myself to keep making content. Doesn't matter what people say. I was, the second I started seeing gains, posting on Instagram, posting about my progress, getting hated on, I wish I would have taken it to the next level and shown, a little information, shared my progress and shared what I was doing, not just putting pictures. I was pretty early on YouTube. I did my first competition prep back in 2015. I was pretty active, not insanely active, but as soon as I got back to school, a lot of my buddies were, kidding with me about it. I got really insecure about it. To this day, I don't know how badly they meant it, if they really thought it was bad and really wanted me to stop, or if they were just messing with me like guys do. But I was in a position where I was insecure about putting it out there in the first place. So facing that kind of rejection from my friends as soon as I thought it kind of spooked me out of it, and I stopped doing it. It's one of those things where, with them being my friends, and knowing the guys that they are, I think if I kept to it and shown them there's something that was important to me, not just something kind of goofy I was doing to show off, I think they would have supported me in the end. But I never even gave them the chance to, because the first time I got criticized, I stopped. So I would say, if there's something that you want to do, like posting content, now, I doesn't say everybody should be posting content, but if there's something you want to do, like posting content, or if you want to get your PT cert, and try that out, or, if you want to try CrossFit, heaven forbid, try it. It's one of the biggest things I like to tell people when they ask about doing contest press is, if you've thought about it before, you're going to think about it again. And if you never try it, you're always going to think about it. Versus if you do it and you hate it, you'll know that you didn't want it, and you know you don't want to do it again. And if you love it, you know you found something great that you can do. So if you're thinking about it and you want to try it, and it's not going to be detrimental or harmful or unkind to someone else, that part, give it a shot, dude, and stick to it. And if people are hating on you for it, then, consider it from a different point. Think about it. They could just be hating on you, they could just be razzing you. Or if it's harmful and meaning awful to them, they could just be expressing that, and that's not just hate. So think about it. If what you're doing is affecting them negatively, don't do it. If they're just hating for no reason, who cares? Do you. Do what makes you happy. I wish I kept doing that myself. In the interest of saving time, I'm just going to do 3 rounds of 1 superset for arms instead of doing 2 rounds each. 2 supersets. I'm just going to really gas myself out on 3 sets. So first up, I'm going to do preacher dumbbells. And something that I wish I'd learned back in the day. Goodness gracious. How important grip strength is in just about everything you do. Your forearms are extremely important to be working and to be using. This could mean individual forearm exercises, if that's something that you need. If you're somewhere lacking, somewhere behind, it could just mean doing as much as you possibly can without straps and grips. But I've found the bigger and stronger that I get, the more that my greatest limiting factor from me increasing weight, performing an exhausting amount of reps, it's not the muscle group I'm training, but rather my ability to hold and to handle the weight. Oh, goodness. All right, hitting my tricep superset. Gonna be doing basically skull crushers. Nice and slow. The dumbbells, these are pretty heavy, I'm not gonna lie. So I guess gonna lead me to the next thing I'd like to tell you. I just like there's different ways to progressive overload. As far as the progression goes, there's different ways to hit overload itself too. Reminds me of a great quote by Frank Zane, where he says, "Make the lightweight feel heavy." So it's one of those things where a lot of times our muscle size can outpace the strength of our joints and of our ligaments and of our tendons. So even though our muscles can handle, say, 300 pounds, maybe our elbows couldn't. So you got to be able to take light weights, use them slow and controlled, hit the exact muscle, put them for time under tension, get them on full range of motion, get them with a good amount of reps, then you can still overload just as much as you would with a heavy weight and low reps. Literature has actually proven that you can hit optimal overload from hypertrophy anywhere between 5 and 30 reps, as long as you're hitting that actual overload threshold. So it's a fun tip for you. I'll see you in the posing room. The last thing I wish I could tell myself pertains to posing. That thing is going to be, no matter how cool a pose looks on someone else, or how much you want to hit it, they're not you. You can take inspiration from them. You can piece together the parts of what you like. So maybe their elbow is higher than you usually see. Maybe their waist is rotated, things like that. And you can try to apply that to yourself, but ultimately, their physiques can be different than yours. I'm not Frank Zane. I don't have his waist. I'm not going to hit Frank's poses. I don't have Arnold's chest. I can't hit Arnold's poses. So it's one of those things where you have to take the structure of those poses. You can even take their signature poses. You know, the Arnold 3/4 is one of my favorites to hit. That Zane/Ziz pose is one of my favorite to hit. But I had to make it my own and fit it to my own physique. I can't hit it just the same way that they did it. So keep that in mind when you're doing all of your posing practicing from here going on forward. Take inspiration, make it your own. Take some time. Don't be afraid to look in the mirror, but don't live in the mirror. Because if you're ever going on stage, you want to have a mirror to see. So learn how the poses feel, not just how they look, and how they feel on you. And that's what's going to take you to the next level. And that marks the end of our limbs day featuring advice I would give my younger self. Hope some of you guys out there and just people starting on their fitness journey can take some of that advice. Hope it resonates with some of you and maybe reconfirms ideas that you already had and helps you believe in yourself a little bit stronger on them. If you like this video, want to see more like it, go ahead and leave a comment down below saying that you like it. Subscribe to the channel for more of this and more of the content that you've already seen from me. Thanks for coming out, guys.